Hey guys, welcome back to the Laurence McKenna on LFC channel, where we're going to talk a little bit about Trent, because there's been lots of speculation since. Yes, I was at Anfield on the weekend. Yes, I watched the conversation between John Henry and Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think I even captured it on my phone. If I did, I'm going to put in a little bit of footage here. It was interesting to see that conversation, first of all, happen, just because I think you see the dynamics between owners and players. Pretty fascinating in the first place. But also you see Trent in a kind of a halfway house of like, well, I'm a Liverpool player. I've got people chanting Scouser in the team and being very kind to me and being very kind about me because of what I've achieved at the club and because, you know, of who I am now. But at the same time, I've also got 1 foot, allegedly, out of the club. And having 1 foot out of the club, it does, I guess it taints or it slightly reframes the overall experience of winning a league title. And that's because the league title is meant to kind of set you up for the future. But I think with Trent, if you aren't committed, or I don't know, it's not about commitment, is it? Well, no, it is literally about commitment. But if you aren't committed to the cause, then what does a league title mean? It means more of a legacy thing to you than anything else. And Trent is conflicted right now. I mean, even if he may even know what it is that he wants to do, either way, he's going to be conflicted because he has the biggest team in Europe, the biggest footballing institution, should we say, and one of the most powerful in Europe, knocking on his door, whilst he also has a club that he clearly loves and cares about, which is going through transition. And what I think is amazing about football is that, excuse me, what I think is amazing about football is that at the start of the season, if you'd have said Liverpool are going to win the title, I think a lot of people would have said, no, like they're outsiders for it. Arsenal, man, there were a bunch of people you could have listed ahead of them. There are a bunch of reasons why you probably could have said, hey, look, Liverpool aren't going to win it because of X, Y, Z. I guess that would mean then, I mean, if football really did work like that, then why play the season? Why not just render it on a computer? Why not just trust what the Opta computer says and then just go, well, yep, there we go. And the same kind of goes for contracts. The same goes for the emotions surrounding it, right? Part of the reason that Liverpool won the title, part of the reason that Liverpool did so well was because of the wave of emotion that they come off the back of with Jurgen Klopp and the change and the shift and the harnessing of that energy by someone like Arne Slot. And I guess Trent would have made his mind up at the start of the season, well, you know, I think I want to go to Real Madrid, so I'm going to keep pushing forward with my other plan, or maybe I don't know, or whatever it is. But he wouldn't have expected, I don't think he would have anticipated that Liverpool would be this good this season, or that come the end of the season, they might be able to attract some massive names, that other things in football have shifted. 24 hours in football is a long time, and so 20 minutes in football still counts that way. And that 20 minutes after the game where people were chanting about the Scouser in the team, and he was walking around the stadium, he was spending time with the players, he was talking to John Henry, I think it made me feel better. Maybe it didn't change anything for him, but I think it made me feel better about, first of all, Trent leaving, because I would have thought any other right back would look at that and go, okay, well, he was a right back in the team and look how sure, he was a Scouser, but he was a right back in the team and look how they treated him. What could I do if I come in? The expectation would be very different. But it also made me think, maybe Arne Slot's looking at this team and thinking, what can I shift in it? I know Trent's been statistically fantastic. I know he's been outstanding. He is that he's a great player. It's, you know, when you're going to lose a great player, if you keep a great player, you know they're a great player. Like, that's kind of the point. But that's kind of the frame, that's the place that Liverpool operate here. They're only in the market for great players. And there isn't just one great right back in the world. There is one great right back at a very specific thing that Trent Alexander-Arnold does, but there isn't just one great right back in the world. There are many great right backs. There are many great right backs that play a lot of different roles for a lot of different managers. And I'm starting to wonder if Liverpool looking at Kerkez, or they're looking at whoever at left back and they're thinking, well, can we shift the emphasis more towards someone like that side and empower the winger ahead of him, change the right back behind someone like Salah, and shift the emphasis more towards the striker and unlock our team in another way? Can we move the emphasis of where the ball goes into the midfield and actually keep a slightly more conservative right back, or a right back who can do the overlapping rather than what it is that Trent does? Because I'll admit, guys, you know, I was here in Anfield, just sat next to all these other Liverpool fans, unless you're in the away end. Even then, you're sort of thinking, maybe we can win a couple of these guys over. And there were a couple of times where Hollywood balls were attempted to be played by Trent, and the technique, actually, I'll be honest, wasn't quite there. And that's happened a lot towards the end of the season. This isn't a criticism of him in as much as it's an evaluation. There was a time in Gerrard's career where he was just playing what we called Hollywood balls at the time. And there were times where it undermined our attack. There were times where it felt more like it was about him doing a hero thing than it was about the overall team move. And I'd imagine certainly under Rafa Benitez, that wouldn't have been so welcome. But the same started to feel there with Trent, right? Of course, there was a great ball. But sometimes you sort of think, did you need to play it like that? Did that technique need to look that way? Did it need to be this complex or frilly or whatever you want to call it? Of course, if it comes off, it's really satisfying. Of course, if it comes off, you know, it's very satisfying for the fans and for Trent as well. It's possibly undermining for the opposition because they think, wow, like look at the technical proficiency of any of these players. We could be picked apart at any time. It changes the status of the game. There's the game tilt. There's all these different kind of things. But what is it doing if Arne Slot doesn't want it? And realistically, if I've come to terms with Trent Alexander-Arnold leaving the club, who else has come to terms with it around Liverpool? It's not like them going, oh yeah, therefore we hate this guy. We don't want him in our team. We don't want him around. Clearly the Liverpool players care about him. You know, you can see the way that Virgil's being a captain. You can see the way that he's kind of guiding him. And of course, they're at different stages. He's at a different stage of his career, so is Mo Salah, to where Trent is at. And as footballers, they'll probably respect what the decision is that he has to make. It's not going to be an easy one for him. They will know that. They will have been approached by other big teams. Salah's definitely been approached by big teams during his career, and he chose to stay, and that's good. But I think, to an extent, the frustration for me comes that, first of all, as Liverpool fans, I think we have a better read on it than anyone else. But also other people have got all these hot takes of, well, what does it do to Liverpool? What does it do? Does it weaken them? Is it weak not to be able to keep one of your best players, your vice captain? If they make a blockbuster offer to him and then he doesn't take it, what does it say about the club? Are they just a feeder club for Real Madrid? Well, first of all, feeder clubs tend to leak one player a season or more. They also tend to get something back from that other team. And I've got to admit, there's this clip of Jude Bellingham going around at the moment and kind of, the thing where he throws his arms up and the ball goes over the top. And then I think the Barca winger plays it back and it's Pedri who slots it away and it's a beautiful finish. But it was that moment where, and I think, Bellingham's had this in his locker for a very long time now, the petulance, I think, and the idea that, well, we're better than this. That goes both ways. And what I mean by that is, when Bellingham went there, he went there to be the best midfielder in the world. He went there to be Zidane, Modric, Kroos. You can keep listing all of these incredible players. They've had some incredible midfielders, right, down the years. And those are just the most recent kind of fantastic players. You go there to play with the best. You go there to play in front of these other fans. Real Madrid fans will, if Trent was to want to leave the club, won't treat him like Liverpool fans have treated him. They won't, and maybe you go there to test yourself in that kind of, the pressure makes diamonds type environment, right? And that's fair, that's fine. I respect wanting to do that. I respect wanting to push yourself. I also think that's a slightly fabricated situation in that they don't need to put that pressure on the players very often. Very often they don't need to treat the players in the way that they treat them. They treat them in an almost it's not abusive, but it feels a little engineered sometimes at Real Madrid. And that's just an observation from the outside. And then I guess on top of that, you think, well, realistically, how can I put it? Right, here you go. If you go there and you're around all these fantastic players, you're around all these great, brilliant guys, and your attitude changes, and you become that kind of petulant player, are you really pushing yourself? Or what if there is merit to what Arne Slot and Liverpool are trying to build? What if there is I'm not saying that it's better or worse, I'm just saying it's a different choice. You're either going to be part of this great institution and their values, or you're going to be part of this great institution and these values. And I could kind of see from the interaction between John Henry and Trent, if I'm a body language expert, which I am and I'm also not, was that there is a distance between the two of them, because obviously he's the owner of the football club. He's a billionaire. He's someone you don't particularly know particularly well. But also, I'd imagine, and what I can take from that is, of course he wants to keep his greatest assets. Of course he wants to, help Liverpool to keep their best players. And if they don't do that, that's bad for his business. But what Trent will be thinking is, well, then pay me for that. Keep your best asset and do that. But at the same time, John Henry will be thinking, well done. You've got the achievement. You've done well to get here, but you built us to this point and now you want to leave. Well, why should we value your input then? What if we're just going to go through this for the next 3 to 5 years where it's about, well, Trent wants to go to Real Madrid, or Trent wants to go to Barcelona now, or Trent's thinking about this or that. And it shows the other players you can just hold the institution kind of over a barrel, even though that's engineered by both sides. Is it not better for Liverpool to get a new right back, shift their emphasis towards Kirkes or whoever's at left back, or get a different style of right back? Like, this is genuinely, I think, from Liverpool's decision-making team, about styles rather than about value that Trent brings. And if they've just secured 2 leaders and they feel that there are other leaders coming through in the team and that Slot wants to shift that leadership element or wants to shift the emphasis at all in the side, then maybe they will be saying to Trent, like, look, we're going to give you a big offer, but if you take it, then you're here. You're here and we're not going to sell you next season. Or stay for one more season, because genuinely, we will pay you a huge wage for one more season. And then next year, we will sell you to wherever you want to go and we'll get the value for you, or we'll try to get the value for you. Or if no one comes back in, great, you stay, you're right back here. That's the nature of all contracts. But I guess, when you've got a particular orientation of the relationship with Trent being the brilliant player and wanting to leave, that's different to another player contract where they sign the contract and then they kind of go, right, I'm here for the next 5 years. That's commitment, that's the industry. So I guess what I'm saying is you can see it both ways. You can see, first of all, the conflict for Trent, but also the conflict for Liverpool. Styles make fights. And this season, Liverpool's style has made the fights for them. And to an extent, I think the only time where our style has undermined our fight has been PSG. I don't even really think it was against Nottingham Forest. I think the first time we were caught on the hop against Nottingham Forest, and the second time, really, we should have done better. And it was still a good fight, if that makes sense. So PSG have really been the only time we've really ever been caught out this season. And I think Liverpool, and analytics-wise, will look at that and go, well, they'll be able to rationalise, to justify that. And I think other players will be looking at that who could come in at Liverpool and be thinking, what could I do in that position? What could I do from right back for Liverpool? And maybe rightly so. I think Liverpool are also looking at the same and thinking, what could we do? What could we do if we, moved on Trent, didn't get a profit, but had a bunch of wage gap to fill? I think the problem maybe for Trent, maybe there was a point where Trent sort of thought, look, the people are going to back me till the end. And maybe it's been smart from Liverpool. Like, maybe they have been softly putting pressure on him, leaking things to the media, talking about, well, maybe his head has been turned. They could have leaked that as well. And maybe they were kind of going, well, what if we put a bit of pressure on him in public to stay? Maybe that pressure will pay. Do you really want a player who's been pressured into staying at your club? Not really. And maybe they haven't been doing that, by the way. I'm not being, you've got to be a bit cynical to make a YouTube channel. But it goes both ways is what I'm saying. And I think at the moment there are people who are more than willing to simplify the story, but weirdly, why do that? Why simplify it? It's complex, but we don't know. So yeah, I'd love to know what you guys think. A lot of fun to be had with transfer rumours this summer. It's going to be a massive summer on the channel. So if you've not already hit subscribe, hit it. If you have a right back replacement, maybe that's part of it. If you have a right back replacement, because there are quite a few of these candidates for Trent, let me know in the comments and maybe we kind of hit it up and see what happens, Anyway, join me on the channel, subscribe, Patreon, Discord, join us in there, come celebrate the title, and I'll chat to you guys in a little while. Much love, bye.